Hey everyone, I'm Steve. Welcome to Maximum Guitar Works. Well, we're back with my friend Chris here. We're going to do another demo for you. This one is of a guitar that I recently finished called Teri. All right, Teri, I don't know. I didn't really have an inside secret name to Teri. I was looking for a T name, to be honest, because this is very Telecaster-ish. Sure. In the sense of the basic shape and, you know, the old vintage Bigsby and the way we have the Tele style bridge pickup, and we do have a humbucker in the neck, and I'll talk about that in the near future here. But let's kind of go over Teri. This is the second prototype of two prototypes that I've recently completed. If you didn't see the first video, it was of Elena, the purple guitar, purple swamp ash. This guitar is basically Honduran mahogany and bobinga. A lot of bobinga. That's a fun word to say. I like using bobinga. Sometimes I forget how to spell it, but it's fun to say nevertheless. So on the top, we've got basically a cap of highly figured bobinga, and you'll see from close-up pictures that I'll add. You'll see the figure in that is, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? It is. It's just so interesting. It stands out. Yeah, in there. And working our way up here, we've got an ebony fretboard on this guy, and we've got the same highly figured bobinga as a faceplate on the headstock. And then if we look around the side, we'll see black laminate in between there, black veneers in order to kind of tie together to the ebony, and sandwich in there the neck. The back of the neck, the main part of the neck, is made out of quarter sawn bobinga. Okay, so you can see there's a difference in tone color. There's basically clear finish only on these things, but the figured bobinga is just much darker than the quarter sawn bobinga. So what I did was I added into that neck just a little accent, a little bit of the leftover from the top figured bobinga with a couple of the black veneer layers in between there to create a little accent to that joint on the back. And that turned out pretty cool. It is. Yeah. And then we've got our hip shot open locking tuners again with the gold hardware. You can't really see the gold gear as much as what you could on the black hardware on the previous guitar that we demoed. But this one is nonetheless excellent. Now, I didn't mention why I like to use the hip shot open locking tuners. The biggest reason why is open versus closed is less weight. So slightly less weight to it. I love locking tuners. I mean, I just think they're so easy to restring, and they're very stable, things like that. But also, their open locking tuners, as opposed to their closed one, has a higher ratio. This is an 18:1 ratio as opposed to 16:1, so you get a little bit more fine tuning out of that. So that's why I go with those often. So coming down to the heel of the bobinga, quarter sawn bobinga neck, we get to the neck plate again, and like on the last guitars and all my guitars that are bolt-on in design, I've got a laser engraved neck plate with the name Teri, the logo Golden, Colorado, USA, and the serial number associated with that. Now this is the Honduran mahogany. I love Honduran mahogany. I love the way it looks. I like how stable it is. I like that it's a little bit lighter than other variations of the mahogany family. And once again, we made some quick access to it. So cover plate on the back just magnetically pops right off, and you can look inside and see the wiring of the toggle switch there. But when you don't need access, you just put that back on. It stays on. The grain is perfectly matched, so it's a very clean look to it right there. And we've got our tummy cut contours on the back. On this one, I chose not to use a forearm contour only because of the way that I was creating the aesthetic appearance of that black and figured bobinga sitting on top of that Honduran. It just seemed to look good when it was just one nice flat plate, and so we went with that. Going back to the neck itself, we've got a kind of double fret markers. So we've got a brass lined piece of bobinga in the fret markers, and again I'll put close-up pictures of some of this stuff. But basically, the bobinga in the fret markers comes from the back of the neck, leftover pieces from the back of the neck. And like I said, the accent on the back of the neck came from the front of the bobinga body. So I kind of tied the front and the back together that way. So you'll see that there. You'll also see the side dot markers are done the same way with brass and a little bit of 2mm bobinga inside of that brass to give it a little decorative detail, which is pretty cool.
It is.
On the main, it's continuing on the neck itself. We've got a little different truss rod adjustment from what I've used, and this is one of the prototypes that I was experimenting with, was a different truss rod access. Again, like most of my guitars, I prefer not to put it in the headstock because I want to retain as much wood. So that combined with the volute becomes as strong of a joint as possible. On this one, instead of, I didn't want up against this humbucker, I didn't want a little notch out. I decided I wanted it to be clean and perfectly straight across there. So I decided to move the spoke wheel truss rod adjustment point up 1 fret. So it's basically in the 22nd fret area in there, and it's a little cutout. I'll give you a close-up picture of that. Again, easy string spread access to be able to make minor adjustments to that. Very clean look, and no difference in playability because that close of the frets and the string tension, you're never going to even be touching the ebony. So really kind of absolutely transparent to play, but visually, I think it's pretty sharp.
I do too. It's different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. Very clean. All right, so moving from the neck, let's start looking at the electronics of this guitar. What we've got in the bobinga top is we've got the standard three-way switch, neck, bridge, in between for both of them. And what that is configured to is 2 pickups. These are both from Rio Grande out of Houston, Texas. This is a Tele style, their version of the Tele style. Muy Grande.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah, it's like, it's spelled M-U-Y, but it's pronounced like calling a pig. Muy Grande is how it's pronounced. I made that mistake once by talking to the owner Dave on the phone, and he corrected me on that one. But now I remember it, since I know it's kind of like a pig call with an M. But anyway, so that is the Tele style bridge pickup, which has pretty large magnets, and I think it gives a pretty full sound out of a single coil. And then we've got their version of the Filter Tron. They call it their TexTron, being from Texas. But it's a very low output humbucker, but the cleans, it's smooth, it's clean, it's got a really beautiful sound. And when you compare the smooth and clean with a little bit of edgy, but yet kind of full sound here, but we can thin it out with these other knobs, it's really a good contrast. You can get a whole lot of different sounds out of just those 2 pickups. So we've got that in there. We've got our bridge that then feeds the Bigsby. This is a B5, so this is the US made version, obviously gold plated in this case. Down at this level on the Tele control plate style, we've got a volume knob here, basic volume, and then here we've got the Fender TBX again, kind of like we did with Alina, where we can go more trebly if we go clockwise and more bassy if we go counterclockwise. And again, we use that in conjunction with the 2 different pickups and 2 different sounds of those pickups to create a lot more different sounds for sure. And then lastly in this is the boosts. So both of my prototypes that I've recently completed, Alina, the purple guitar, if you haven't seen that video, check it out, and Teri, the bobinga guitar, both have boost circuitry. But if you watch the other video, Alina had a JFET style boost control circuit style of boost, and this one is a MOSFET, and they react differently and they sound differently. The other one produced a little bit more of a dirt, and you could get clean if you adjusted it with the volume. This one is pretty much straight up a clean boost. And as you turn that volume up, when you start it in the full counterclockwise position, it's basically unity. So if you flick that on, it's basically transparent with maybe a little bit more brightness to it. But then you roll this gain knob up to increase the output volume. So it truly is a pretty clean boost. But the thing I love the most about it is playing it through kind of a dirty amp channel or a distortion, pedal really plays nice with it and gives extra harmonics and really sounds good. And the craziest thing is you get that through a drive channel and you get the boost cranked full up and the volume full up. This thing sustains for days. It really, really is quite amazing how much it sustains, and we'll have Chris demonstrate that in a little bit. So anyway, that's the electronics there. I think I covered everything off. Maybe I didn't point out the battery compartment. Yeah. So that battery compartment is located and easy accessible, but out of the way, so you don't kind of feel it in your way. So it's in a nice position and easy to get to for swapping that out. So anyway, this is Teri, and like Elena, these prototypes I will be offering up for sale. I built them with experimentation in mind of the boost, of the recessed truss rod adjustment, and things like that. But I have a little bit more tweaking. If you're interested in either of these guitars, certainly let me know, but I probably have a month worth of tweaking and experimentation to try to kind of figure out different nuances of all the features I've added in these and make sure what I'm going to kind of standardize on to move forward, like the two different type of boosts and things like that, and the special truss rod adjustment, and make sure I'm just completely happy with what I'm doing. So anyway, let me know. Send an email if you got any other questions. But now is time to play this bad boy. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. I almost hit you in the head with it.
Bridge. Nice. Middle position, typical.
Okay.
Both of them. It's just a natural sound.
Yeah.
Which is always a true test in my mind anyway.
Yeah.
Just straight in the amp, clean
It's very
channel.
very full and warm sounding in that neck position.
Let me give it a little. So that's down. So this should be unity.
Yep.
Just a little bit more bright.
A little brighter. And again, we can offset that. Get it back to about where it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Guitar-wise, very beautifully made in that you don't hear any difference going up the neck.
Yeah.
Kind of like that little edge it just put on that.
Even more edgier if you want by cranking that that TBX.
You're really honky-tonk. Go back to neutral. Is that neutral?
Yeah.
Would you call that?
So it's getting a little grit there, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's
So all of that grit is running through a clean channel of the amp, so it's just through just saturating those tubes ever so slightly.
Let's try. Let's go to. That'd be that one box. Are we off? Everything in the middle. Dog must have turned that one off. Right there. Nice.
That's fun.
That is. haven't we done? Here's a question.
Yeah.
If this is on and you unplug it, is the battery still engaged?
Nope.
So it won't drain?
Yeah, so we unplug it, that light goes out.
Okay.
Now I did that differently than the other guitar. This one basically has a two-throw, two-position switch in here, which basically allows it to be powered on when it's plugged in. But the light acts more like a battery strength indicator.
Okay.
So the dimmer that gets, the more your battery's weakening, and consequently, the less clean headroom you're going to have within that boost channel. This one, in prototype form, is a battery indicator. Crank this up while you're doing that.
Big difference.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those features I'll be doing a lot more. Especially this MOSFET style of boost. I just love how it interacts, you know, with the drive pedal or the amp channel, or the drive channel or amp.
Favorite sound real quick. Should be that one.
Good access to even those upper frets, huh?
Yeah, here I'm always struggling on my Les Pauls, but all the possibilities.
Yeah, it's just endless with the combination of those pickups and that boost control.
It's nice, very beautiful guitar.
Well, Chris, I really enjoy you coming over to play these guys.
Yeah,
it's always nice
enjoy
to
doing it.
let everybody hear, you know, what it sounds like, you know, when it's really being played well, and I do appreciate that. So that is Teri. That is a prototype that I've recently completed. And once again, let me know if you got any questions or if you're interested in purchasing this when I'm done kind of doing my my little experimentation and note-taking of the results from the different features that I've added in this guy. But until next time, I guess that's all we have. So guess we'll see him again in the future, huh?
I'll be here.
All right.
All right.
All right. See you later, man. See you, everybody. Take care.